All right, thanks to everybody that listens to the podcast. I appreciate you. If you haven't already done so, please follow, subscribe, like. I don't know what you got to do out there, but I appreciate it. Coming up, MxPx.com, we got Thursday, March 26th in Washington, D.C., MxPx and the Ataris at 9:30 Club. That's Thursday, March 26th. Friday, March 27th, the NorVa, Norfolk, Virginia. And then Saturday, March 28th, the Fillmore, Charlotte, North Carolina. Sunday, March 29th, Charleston Music Hall, Charleston, South Carolina. Going to be epic. Going to be good to be on the East Coast finally. And then we're coming back to the mountainous area of Denver, Colorado. MxPx, Goldfinger, Zebrahead, and Homegrown at Mission Ballroom on Saturday, April 11th. Get your tickets. They are moving. I think it's going to sell out, so do not wait. Come out, see us, East Coast, Denver. Maybe you're in Europe. Come out and see us in Italy. September 5th, we're going to be at Punkadeka Festival, MxPx. It's the only European show we're doing. It's very exclusive. Saturday, September 5th. All right. We'll see you over there in Europe. Stay tuned for more dates. All right, you guys, MxPx.com. We got a bunch of merch, hoodies, T-shirts, skateboards, CDs, vinyl, stickers, pins, pajamas. We got pendants. We got Hawaiian shirts. We got board shorts and bikinis and grill stuff and steak seasoning. We got a lot of stuff over there, MxPx.com. We appreciate you. All right, let's get to your voicemails. It's been a crazy week. It's been great. Thanks to everybody that came out and saw Goldfinger in Florida. We did 2 nights, or we did 3 nights. We did Fort Lauderdale. Awesome show. Very punk, very tight, very old school kind of vibe. Really fun. And then we did Ponte Vedra, which was basically Jacksonville, Florida. We did that on Friday night. That was awesome. Great night. And then we ended it up in Jannus Live, Jannus Landing for me. You know, I usually call it that, but it's called Jannus Live now in St. Petersburg, Florida. Awesome place. They've really kind of kept it up, and I hope it lasts. You know, it's a venue that's been around. We used to play there all the time. The first time Newfound Glory toured with MxPx, it was like one of their first tours. They opened for us at Jannus Landing. It was a great night. All right, you guys, appreciate it. Let's get to your voicemails, okay? Let me find your voicemails, and then we'll get to your voicemails. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, this is Rich over here in Northeast Washington. I got a surprise Sterling Mike Herrera signature bass for Christmas, and we really need some custom picks. So I'm just wondering if any of those are going to be coming out maybe in the next merch arsenal drop or what. But a couple of assorted picks sure would be nice. These old ones that I've acquired throughout the years are, I don't know. I don't want to use them because I've only got so many. Anyways, thanks for everything you do. And this week's podcast was amazing. I loved the part about the positivity and everything. Anyways, thank you so much for what you do. And the other guys, Mike, Tom, Yuri, Chris, your crew, everybody, thank you. You're a huge part of our lives.
Awesome. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. The call goes on and on and on, but that's it. Thank you so much for the call, Rich. I appreciate it, man. And I love hearing about people that get my new signature series bass, Sterling by Music Man. It's the orange bass. It's the orange Creamsicle. And if anybody has it out there, please, you probably already did, but make another video, make a photo, tag me, Mike Herrera TD if you're on Instagram or Twitter. Tag me on Facebook is just probably Mike Herrera. And then whatever you're on, tag me. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be able to share it and repost it. At the same time, also tag Sterling by Music Man. It's at Sterling by Music Man, especially on Instagram. That way they know that people actually want this bass. So I appreciate you guys. It's amazing. So custom picks. That's a good question. I've kind of spaced out and forgot about custom picks. I have my picks. I just ordered some new ones, but I'll look into us adding some custom picks into the store so people can buy their own. I change them up a lot, so who knows? Maybe we'll just make some designs for it. All right, you guys. Or we can just reuse some of the designs I've actually used for my picks. I think that's probably the best thing to do. But great idea. I mean, I love playing with my custom picks, and why wouldn't you? So we'll get some made so you don't have to worry about using those old ones up. And, I get it. You don't want to mess them up. But, hey, love it. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Eastern Washington, Northeastern Washington. Great little spot in the world. Glad you guys found a good spot over there. I hope you're good. All right, let's get to another voicemail.
Hey, Mike, this is Price Couch. I live in West Virginia, and I've seen you guys quite a few times, probably 5 or 6 times. You guys are my all-time favorite band. I'm just curious. I know occasionally back in the day talked about faith in your songs, and I know you were a Christian at one point in time. I'm just curious. I still love your music to this day. That'll never change. I'm just curious, when did you kind of drop the Christian off the band? Was it just understood, or did you just drop it one day, just come in and be like, hey, we want to drop that? Doesn't really matter to me because you seem like really good guys. I met you before. Your all's music has changed my life for the better. And one other day, my son was listening to a song on XM. It was a Green Day song. And he said, is that the guy that sings Responsibility? Is that Mike from MxPx? And I was like, no, but that's a good compliment. So, yeah, take care. Just curious, buddy. Take care. Love your podcast. See you, buddy.
Hey, Bryce. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. And, that's a good question. A lot of people want to know. A lot of people want to know what our status is and when we dropped the Christian part of what we do. But here's the thing is, like, I think we're living our lives. When I started this band, MxPx, we put it out, Magnified Plaid. I didn't know it was going to be a thing. I didn't know people were going to be listening to these songs 20, 30 years later. I didn't know people were going to look into what I was writing. So I think I just grew up in front of a public audience. And it's not that things happened overnight. It was very, very slow, gradual, just, maybe I'm not as set traditionally as some people would be in their faith. But I think I still retain all of the qualities that I was taught as a kid, going to church, going to youth group, which is take care of your neighbor, take care of your friend, take care of your family, take care of people. Don't be selfish, don't steal, don't murder, don't eat babies, like things like that. I think I have retained those traits in my life. And here's the thing, I don't know what's true and what's not. Who knows? Maybe I come back to the cloth. I don't know. It could happen. Anything's possible. But I'm kind of a step back and watch things happen kind of guy. And but I also am the kind of guy that makes things happen that I want to make happen. So I guess I mean in the way of the world, like when I see everything happening, the way that things are going in the world, I'm not necessarily happy with a lot of things. Nobody is, right? So I sit back, I watch, I try to make sense of things, and you can't always make sense of things, that's for sure. But I think that's where I went with faith and religion and all the spirituality, all of those big questions in life. I'm still out there wondering. I'm still out there asking questions, and I think being a genuine person, being real with people, is so important these days, because you don't know who to trust. You don't know what is real. You don't know what's AI. Aside from AI, you don't know what's a scam. It's a real person, but they're still going to rip you off. So like that's just so prevalent in our culture and our society these days that I'm just holding on to. Everything I can to continue doing what I think MxPx is here to do, which is be positive, stay a positive force for people. People need an escape. They need to know that they're not alone. They need positive reinforcement. There's so many people out there that will tell you what you're doing wrong in life. And I just don't want to be that person, you know, and I've been that person to people in my life. And it never feels good to them to have somebody telling them what you're doing wrong. But like, who cares? Like sure, that might be wrong, but I'm probably doing something wrong too. So like, it's a hypocritical thing. It's you know, it's trying to stay out of the corruption part of life. You know, like I really do pay attention to all these avenues that people find themselves. They've walked down, they've run down, and now they're at a dead end. And they don't like where they are, you know. So, you know, I don't know. It's a great question, and it's something that I'm always evolving my thoughts, my ideas, my beliefs. I appreciate the audience out there having a nuanced take on what it means to be a good person in this world. You know, you don't have to necessarily follow one religion or another. You don't have to do this, but the way you treat people, the way you live, what do people see you as, you know? And that's the thing, is like, I'm not necessarily a good person. I'm not a good person, but I want to be. I try to be. So I think that's worth something in life. Is what are your intentions? What are you striving for? What are you aiming for? Now, yeah, I want people to listen to my albums and come to my concerts and things like that, but do I just want them to come and I don't care about the outcome? Of course not. I want them to come. I want them to have a great time. I want them to feel like that was one of the best times they've had in their lives. I want people to make new memories when they come see a show. I want people to have an album take them on a journey. I want these songs to mean something to them. So I'm out there putting my heart into everything we do, even when it's a grind, even when it's hard, even when I have to redo a promo because I messed up a detail here and there. It's always love, because I realize, you know, I get to do something that you know, a very large percent of the population doesn't get to do. I get to be out there creating something that came out of just my ideas and my inspirations and my emotions and my energy. And I get to put that and create a life from that. So I just want to say thank you guys for being part of the journey. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to one more.
Hey Mike, this is JT from Southwest Michigan. You've worked with Steve Kravac and Jerry Finn, both like super consequential producers for the type of punk that we're all a part of here. Just kind of wondering, you know, those albums that you worked on back to back, going from Steve with Swig on the Way to Buffalo, then working with Jerry, like what were kind of those differences between working with both those guys? Like obviously those two albums, the songwriting is solid, but there's something different production-wise. Just kind of wondering what those stark differences were and kind of some of the things you guys picked up on between working with both those guys. Have a good one.
Cool. Thanks for the call, JT. If you guys want to call in, by the way, the number is 360-830-6660. So your question is, you know, we worked with Steve Kravac on Life in General and Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo, and then we worked with Jerry Finn on The Ever-Passing Moment. And what was that like? What are the differences? Songwriting, both, I think all three of those albums have good songwriting. But yeah, there was a difference. What was the difference? One, with Steve Kravac, we were learning our instruments still. I mean, I think we still are, but we were learning how to play, how to record, how to make consistent sounds come through those speakers, be recorded on that tape. And so Steve spent a lot of time just coaching us. Life in General was just like Yuri. There was a story about Yuri was playing on Move to Bremerton, and it's just such a solid beat, right? Steve had him just keep playing that over and over, and the whole band, without Yuri, and Steve went to dinner while he just sat there and recorded and played. And when we got back, he was still playing. And Steve was like, okay, let's do a take. So that was recording with Steve. He really worked us hard. I remember I basically had lost my voice. We were at West Beach Recorders for the recording session for Life in General, and that's in Hollywood, California. And the rest of the band had actually started driving home. We had our van and trailer there because we had all our gear there from tour. And they had started driving home, and I got a flight the next day because we weren't done recording, but we had one more day in the studio. So I had a flight the next day. So I woke up early and went into the studio, and Steve recorded me singing Chick Magnet. And I sang it over and over and over and over, and I'm losing my voice and I'm barely getting it, but I got it. And then where he's like, we got to go. I got to take you to the airport. So he drove my ass to Burbank Airport, just going through Burbank, and got me there. I went on my way. I made it to Seattle, Bremerton, and that's the story. But we were down to the wire on that record for sure. And then slowly going the way of the Buffalo, totally different experience with Steve again. But we were up in Seattle. We were at Robert Lang Studios in Shoreline area of Seattle, North Seattle, and we were staying up all night. We would do vocals late at night, and then after that start on guitars, and they would just go until like, I don't know, 4 a.m. They'd be, Tom and Steve would be walking to our little apartment that was walking distance from the studio that we were staying at, a kind of an Airbnb before Airbnb existed. And they were like, wow, those ferries run really late. And because they would see the ferries coming into Edmonds, and then they realized, wait, no, those are the first ferries coming in for the next day. Those ferries are early. Let's go to sleep. So we just had that grind every day, up, started by noon, go till 4 a.m., start again, and it was a grind. And then when we worked with Jerry, we started out at the same studio. We did all the drums and probably some bass and stuff like that. We did a lot of that pre-production all at Robert Lang Studio there. And then from there we moved over to Hollywood. We had a studio there, El Dorado Studio it was called. It was great. So there's so many great stories from that session and from those sessions, because we spent quite a lot of time recording The Ever-Passing Moment. But that's when we met Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters guys, and a bunch of other people came through. But working with Jerry Finn was so different, because by then we were a band and we kind of knew how to play and put things together. And so from there, I was just experimenting with my songwriting, the chord structures, the progressions, the melodies. I was having fun with that. But the pressure, there wasn't really a lot of pressure when it came to being in the booth. It was still recording to 2-inch tape. We didn't really, we did comps, but it was comps from 2-inch tape. So what you do is you do 3, 4, 5 takes of a song. So with comping, you have your tracks, and you literally have to punch in each line that you choose onto your comp track. So it's like recording onto the track, each one. So you got your, say, 4 or 5 lines, and you go through a chart. You have a chart, and then you doot. So we really had fun with it. Jerry Finn's got so many stories, R.I.P. And to be clear, Steve Kravac was so much fun, but we were grinding so hard to make those records that we had a different experience. But love working with both of those guys, and I really feel like Steve taught us to crawl and walk so that Jerry could teach us to run. So, we really had a good time making those records. And then now with the new records we've been making, we're much more hands-on in how we make the records sound. Songwriting is really, really, I think, even gone up in quality. Really trying to pay attention to everything that goes out the door. But great question. Mainly the difference was was where we were in our careers. We needed the nurturing from Steve Kravac so that we could have a party with Jerry Finn. We had a great time making that record. Did beer bongs for the first time ever with Dave Grohl, and that after that experience, that's when we asked him to sing the count on the next big thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So good times, great memories. R.I.P. Jerry. And Steve Kravac's out there still making records. He's making a solo record right now, I think. We're making a new MxPx record, working on it. It's slow going because it's in between a lot of the shows we got going on. But if you haven't already, please come out, see us live. Would love to say hi. Would love to have that chance to put on a good show for you guys. So MxPx.com for all the dates. Plus, we have T-shirts and a bunch of other stuff in the store. It's all mom and pop still. All right, you guys. Shout out to Bob McKnight for producing. Much love to y'all. Peace.